What's up, everyone? I'm Z, and this channel shows you the world through my lens. Um, so interesting things have occurred recently. You guys have, if you're, if you're seeing this, you're most likely someone who's been on the channel before. And if you haven't, we've reacted to a number of UK artists. Um, some artists have quickly become some of my favorite artists to listen to. I was mentioning that on my Spotify Wrapped, I think Dave was my number one or number two listen to artist. I can't remember. But it was definitely a Dave song that was number one on my Spotify Wrapped. And there's a number of artists that I really enjoy. Getz, I think, is phenomenal. And many others. We could probably go through the list, but you guys can check out my channel. I have some playlists put together. I definitely do plan on listening to more UK rappers. But something came out recently, and it's interesting how things work, right? Like, Drake was on his way to the UK to go do his show or some festival or something over there. And around this time, I don't know what came first. I don't know if Drake's tweet came first or Skepta's kind of, flurry of tweets came first. I'm not sure. But this is just how I experienced what went on. So I saw this thing from Drake, and Drake was basically saying that UK rappers are the best lyricists, better than US rappers. And it was very controversial. Now you got to remember, market wise, just purely market wise, and don't worry, I'll put a timestamp down below so you guys can skip ahead to the actual song reactions. But market wise, the US is, just to say population wise, the US is so much bigger than the UK if we're just talking about localized markets. So when you're talking about the size of rappers, you're just going to have bigger fan bases, more support for US artists than UK artists because they're pulling from a bigger pool. And yes, UK artists are starting to break through, and not starting to, they have been for a while, but they're really are becoming more mainstream and are breaking through on the global scale now. But again, it's going to be a little bit behind US artists because they're just pulling from a far bigger pool, right? That's just going to be the case. So I personally feel that there are incredible lyricists on both sides. I personally feel that my recent discovery into more UK artists, I think that my top 10 of lyricists has become a mix. It used to be all US artists, but now it's a mix of US UK artists. My top three still happens to be all US artists, but that's purely because these are artists that I grew up with and I have like a personal kind of like connection to their music and the way that they deliver their music. And I'm sure over time, as I keep exploring more music from the UK, that could possibly change. But if those are my top three, like I feel like Dave, for me, just his style is so phenomenal. I put him right at number four. And that's how I truly feel about it. Now, in this whole situation, I think Joyner Lucas basically came out and was like, maybe he responded to it or he tweeted something like, and was basically like, Drake doesn't know what he's talking about. And then I think Skepta said some stuff, and basically, I think he may even have said that like MGK showed that Eminem has a chink in his armor, and that, he's beatable or something. I kind of disagree with that because as much credit as people give Rap Devil, I was so confused why it was touted as a strong diss track because like 50% of it, he was like talking about how much he loves Eminem. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. I feel like he could have done that for like 10 to 20% of it, and then the rest of it, he should have just been going at his neck. But it was kind of like 50-50. And for me, that kind of made it fall short of what it could have been. And it would only have been a revelation that there was a chink in his armor if it did something, which it didn't, because when M came back, he destroyed him. It caused the reactor boom online. The whole like kamikaze era, the diss era, like that's really when music reactions blew up, and that's just the reality. So I do disagree with that. I think Skepta's phenomenal. but Joyner Lucas is also one of those guys. I don't know how good this matchup is going to be. Me personally, I don't know either of their discography super deep. I just know them surface level. And off of surface level, I kind of personally like Joyner Lucas's style. But Skepta's like really witty. So what's it going to be? I don't know. Anyways, this is a super long intro. I hopefully put the timestamp at the beginning. We are going to do both tracks today in one video. And we're going to be starting with Friendly Fire, which I believe was the first track. And then I think Joyner responded last night, my time. So, Friendly Fire, let's see what we got.
They're clowning your accent, but you know we love that shit. Innit?
You get me?
Wasn't there, I think Joyner posted something of Ari Spears, the comedian who was like doing an impression of British rap. So I think that's why they're talking about the accent, clowning your accent.
Come on, babe. They're clowning your accent, but you know we love that shit. Innit?
Innit?
You get me? Something dead.
Okay.
Big smoke. Nobody's safe. Yeah. Old man Ebro asking me stupid questions. Trying to use me to get clicks. I said what I said now.
Ooh, Ebro. So did this start with the Ebro's Breakfast Club, right? Maybe it started there.
Old man Ebro asking me stupid questions. Trying to use me to get clicks. I said what I said, now I'm reaping the benefits. This ain't beef, that's expensive. You know I ain't trying to lose pounds, I ain't on the Ozempic. I'm uptown, white wine, hummus and breadsticks. Goat level, might say so.
And see, this is what I'm talking about, the wit, man. This is something that maybe the US audience, if they're not familiar with UK rap, they're going to maybe not appreciate some of the things that may happen in this track. But right there, like, you know, lose pounds, Ozempic, they're going to see it as a weight loss bar. But like lose pounds, that's the currency. Lose money on this. You know, it's just like little stuff like that that may not land the same way.
Trying to use me to get clicks. I said what I said, now I'm reaping the benefits. This ain't beef, that's expensive. You know I ain't trying to lose pounds, I ain't on the Ozempic. I'm uptown, white wine, hummus and breadsticks. Goat level, might say something offensive. Still I ain't trying to ruin the friendship. But just like Ryu and Ken in this.
He said goat level. I mean, UK, yeah, for sure. I think Skepta is considered to be one of those guys.
Might say something offensive, still I ain't trying to ruin the friendship. But just like Ryu and Ken in this game, might have to go to war with your best friend if he ain't in the hood. Catch a
Ryu and Ken go to war with your best friend. Also the fist here, so that's the reference.
But just like Ryu and Ken in this game, might have to go to war with your best friend if he ain't in the hood. Catch a boy in the West End. Said that you're a block boy, throw up your set then. Tottenham, North London, we set trend. Pull up on me, I'm in your city with Fred again. We just sold out the Paramount. And you know we got paid a mad amount. The place I hang about's a real dark place. You're ignorant, that's why you lack taste. You're mumbling, your voice it lacks bass. Time to wipe the smile off Act's face.
You're mumbling, your voice lacks bass. Ooh.
The Paramount. And you know we got paid a mad amount. The place I hang about's a real dark place. You're ignorant, that's why you lack taste. You're mumbling, your voice it lacks bass. Time to wipe the smile off Act's face. Time to say chat W Skepta. Go against me, your ends in bad ways. Keep it rap, don't wanna catch a case. You boys love to snitch, I ain't in a rap race. Oh, so underrated. Underestimated. I need flex to play this. Need some text to play this. New shoes trying to step on faces. Yeah, we bought extra laces. Rude boy, what's the latest? Got the UK, US debating. Joyner Lucas, you bastard.
Oh, I paused at the wrong time. I like that chorus though. It's very catchy. The song's pretty catchy. The interesting thing about this too is like putting this out, you kind of are looking at some strategy stuff here. And the question would have been like, is he going to put out something that the US audience would, you know, be more drawn to? And that doesn't really seem to be the case here. It seems like he's kind of like, you know, making this for his, primarily his UK audience. And I feel like that's a pretty good move because usually when you have two sides on a situation, people are kind of like on the side that they're on and they judge things with heavy bias from the side that they're on. So if somebody's on Team Joyner, it's very unlikely that they're going to switch teams to Team Skepta. So it's kind of like make something for your own people that are on your team, and anybody who's in the middle or not really sure what's going on, those are the ones that will be drawn to something, and then you make something cool so that they're drawn to it, right?
Rude boy, what's the latest? Got the UK, US debating. Jonah Lucas, you bastard. Why you rap like you studied at Harvard? Catch him outside, I move to him, heartless. Cuts, bruises and plasters. If I see him on tour in London, I jump on stage and move to his dancers. Who said that I'ma lose? I need answers. You couldn't walk a mile in my shoes. I'm the hardest. I train with the animals. You really don't want this on my Jack Jones. I don't need an accomplice. I spit hollow tips, time I pop shit. Put a stop to that man's not hot shit.
I spit hollow tips, time to pop shit. Man's not hot. Ooh, my goodness. Hollow tips, pop. Okay.
I don't need an accomplice. I spit hollow tips, time I pop shit. Put a stop to that man's not hot shit. Forget all this studio rap, come victory lap, and I'll show you what I've done is. Praise the Lord, you want beats, then I got this. You haven't had a hit song for the longest. Too concerned with your clothes, should be focusing on flows.
You haven't had a hit song in the longest. That's an interesting one, and again, I don't know enough about their discographies because I wouldn't know when Skepta last had a hit song. It's just one of those situations where I think I think that lands harder if, let's say, Skepta had a recent hit song. And if he didn't, then it still lands because it's kind of like you're saying that we're not hot, but when was your last hit? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
I got this. You haven't had a hit song for the longest. Too concerned with your clothes. Should be focusing on flows. Where I'm from, I'm a goat. Where you're from, you're a joke. SK turn you to a ghost. Yo, talking like your lyrical miracle. Oh, please. Where I come from, that's a default speed. You never been to a clash with a...
Talking like you're a lyrical miracle. Where I'm from, that's a default speed. And this is something that, like, not all UK rappers, but a lot of UK rappers that that I think are out there, and that at least every single one I've listened to has been heavily lyrical. That is absolutely something that I could vouch for is my experience so far diving into UK rap. Damn, he said, where I'm from, I'm a goat. Where you're from, you're a joke.
Where I'm from, I'm a goat. Where you're from, you're a joke. SK turn you to a ghost. Yo, talking like your lyrical miracle. Oh, please. Where I come from, that's a default speed. You never been to a clash with a machine, Gary. Tell me what you know about grease. You think you're doing me like the mother MCs? Houseway, you ain't got the answers for these. In this war thing, I got a master's degree. The facade falling apart and they're starting to see all lies on me. I got the juice, I'm with the gang. Supermodels hit 'em up, it's poetic justice. You laugh at my accent when I rap, but your wife fell in love with the English. Oh, so underrated.
I think there's definitely some like very British references here, stuff that I don't recognize, but it feels very purposeful, like that Moan thing. I don't know what that is, but like it must be something that the British audience would appreciate. And there was something earlier too which I didn't fully get, but the way he said it felt like it should have been something that his audience would get.
Rap, but your wife fell in love with the English. Oh, so underrated, underestimated. I need flex to play this. Need some text to play this. New shoes trying to step on faces. Yeah, we bought extra laces. Rude boy, what's the latest? Got the UK, US debating. Oh, so underrated. Oi, underestimated. The top boy don't chat to me. To play this. League One to play this. You get shoes trying to step on faces. Got 100 man waiting. On green. What's the latest? Got the UK, US debating.
All right, man. I do think that was light work. The beat wasn't like super menacing. The song was like catchy. And I think that like diss tracks, like I think especially once they really get into it, don't necessarily have to be that. Obviously there's instances in rap beefs where you end up making a hit record, but and again, I'm going to be talking a little bit out of my ass here because I don't know the full details. I haven't heard both sides. But for example, I've heard a lot, like I've listened to Stormzy's tracks where he's dissing certain people, and they kind of were hits. And then, on the other side, I don't know if they had the same chart appeal, but like they were ruthless diss tracks that people were like, damn, this dude just like, destroyed Stormzy. But again, in the court of public appeal, if your track is doing well charting and people are like bumping your track to like drive down the road or like have a good time, and it's like literally dissing somebody, For example, the Not Like Us effect, that's a very recent situation. Then you go back to Drake doing back to back. You go all the way back to Hit 'Em Up. Songs that people were like literally listening to everywhere, and it's like really badly dissing somebody. I think that can have a strong effect. So do I think this is that? Not necessarily. I don't think it was like good enough to be something like that. I do think it was catchy. I think it sounded pretty good. He had some strong lines in there, but for the most part, I kind of felt like it was light work. I also think that may be strategy because it's the opening track. You're almost like, if you're fighting somebody, you don't want to start with your haymaker. You're starting with some jabs to gauge the distance, to feel them out, see how they move. And it's kind of the same thing in diss battles. Like, this to me felt like a feeler. It's also called friendly fire. So not overly strong start, but let's jump to see how Joyner Lucas responded, which is right here. And this one is called Nobody Cares. The artwork is already pretty crazy. He has half American flag, half English flag, and he's wearing, I think, some places called the shiesty, I think other places called something else. But obviously a lot of the drill scene from the UK, you see this worn. So yeah, crazy work. I'm sure there's stuff to see in the chains too. I see Rough Riders, Cash Money Records. So he may be like repping, obviously, like the US's successes on his chains there. Possibly. Oh, it blinks.
Give me the blunt, I'm ready to blaze a corpse. After the song is over, I never want haters debate no more. I ain't want to do it, but somebody told me saying my name is war. I want to know what drugs you...
Listen, we're willing it up already because here's the thing, man. Right away, the beat is already harder. It's a lot more of what I would hope to expect from like diss tracks. I kind of wonder why Skepta didn't go with like a very traditional grime beat, but like, I don't know, again, maybe he was trying to leave it open for American audiences, even though he wasn't trying to completely like tailor it for them. This beat already is hitting harder, and he came in harder.
Give me the blunt, I'm ready to blaze a corpse. After the song is over, I never want haters debate no more. I ain't want to do it, but somebody told me saying my name is war. I want to know what drugs you taking and what are you taking for. Maybe you mad cause you ain't got buzz up in the UK no more. I heard your career just ain't what it was and you don't get paid no more. If you want to feature, nigga, just say it, but you gotta pay me for it. And after I body you, I don't want you ever saying my name anymore.
Damn. Listen, again, I'm not up to game enough to speak on that, to speak on where Skepta's career is, what his place is considered. I do think he is considered one of the GOATs in the UK rap scene. But again, I don't know how much water those claims or basically those claims hold. You guys may know better. Comment down below.
Nigga, just say it, but you gotta pay me for it. And after I body you, I don't want you ever saying my name anymore. I know you putting your flag on your back, now you gotta carry it. If somebody holding it down, it shouldn't be you, it's time to be serious. I know you hate being home, you come to the States and try to be arrogant. I bet you sit in your room and secretly wish that you was American. As soon as I heard your diss, was shaking my...
It's a good line, but I think it loses some because I also think that it's not true. I think that this is textbook Americanism, living in a bubble, believing that you're the best and that everybody wants to be you. I think that there are people that want to be American, that want to be there, but there's a whole lot of people that don't. But it's in the scheme of it, it was a good line.
I bet you sit in your room and secretly wish that you was American. As soon as I heard your diss, was shaking my head, that shit was hilarious. Ain't even want to respond, but niggas in London told me to take care of it. You keep on saying my name, you digging the...
He said, I didn't want to respond, but people in London told me to take care of it. Damn, that's, and saying something like that.
Ain't even want to respond, but niggas in London told me to take care of it.
Okay.
You keep on saying my name, you digging the grave, and you gon' get buried. back in your country, looking at you like you an embarrassment. I'm about to perish him. I gotta make him respect this shit. Put that in your life, I bet this shit. You lyrically better than no one I know, not even no one in the freshman list. I love the UK, but that shit said.
Bro, first of all, that's absolutely not true. The freshman list for a while have been very questionable. Let's just be honest. But that's how you diss somebody. That's how you... Again, it's absolutely not true because Skepta is a beast. But that's yeah.
Bet this shit, you lyrically better than no one I know, not even no one in the freshman list. I love the UK, but that shit said, I really hope you ain't the best there is, cause all of my life I never heard nobody tell me to put in that Skepta shit. When you gon' finally accept this shit, you not.
Yeah, but you're American, so like that again, that doesn't hit super hard. You know, I don't know if there's a whole lot of people in the UK that are like, oh, put on that Joyner shit. Like it's just kind of, you know, I personally don't think Skepta's the best that I've heard from the UK. So it is definitely not such, and I definitely don't think Joyner's the best that the US has to offer. So if there was going to be a US UK, you know, Revolutionary War repeat, then you know, I feel like this is kind of like the opening skirmishes before the big guns would get involved. If, again, hypothetically, there was to be something like that.
There is, cause all of my life I never heard nobody tell me to put in that Skepta shit. When you gon' finally accept this shit, you not on my level, don't test this shit. I know that you think it is friendly fire, but I'm not one of your friends and shit. You should've hit up your friends, little bitch. Go call up Dave and Central, bitch. For me, you gon' need the Avengers, bitch. Go tell them that Joyner is Central, bitch. Nobody.
See, now I think Sench, I'm not sure that he's someone that I would put on that level lyrically. Like he wouldn't be on my top 5, let's say, UK artists that I've heard. But he said Dave's name, and I think Dave's a different animal, bro. Like, I don't know if you should have said that name.
Don't test this shit. I know that you think it is friendly fire, but I'm not one of your friends and shit. You should have hit up your friends, little bitch. Go call up Dave and Central, bitch. For me, you gon' need the Avengers, bitch. Go tell them that Joyner is Central, bitch. Nobody cares. You was that nigga back in the days. You only popping in the UK, but we don't play your shit in the States. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how many women that you played, or how many bullets that you sprayed, or who bringing you out on stage. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you sat with all the goats, or how many tags on your coats, or how many niggas that you know. We don't care. Nobody cares about how you and Drizzy are close, or how you invented UK rap, but still ain't top 10 on your coast.
Again, we have another Americanism because coast is a thing that happens in America, but you don't really speak like coasts in the UK. So that's an Americanism again, which is going to happen. Look, America really is such a big place that is in its own bubble, and it creates a lot of ignorance to the way things happen in other parts of the world. It's just the truth. And because America has been such a mega source of entertainment, the other parts of the world are better versed on American culture and what happens in America than Americans are of what happens in other places. It's just unfortunately how it works. So there are going to be Americanisms and stuff, and I think that was a big one right there. But this whole section was ruthless. You know, and I don't know if Skepta claims to invent UK rap. I don't think that's true. But that whole sequence was ruthless.
How you and Drizzy are close, or how you invented UK rap, but still ain't top 10 on your coast. What makes you think it's a bright idea to swing at a nigga with stamina? You throwing jabs and punches, swinging for nothing, cause you never landed them. I heard that all of a sudden you Muslim, fucking, I'm about to go ham on them. If you a demon, with bitch, I'm a devil, I hope that you ready to dance with them. I know I probably
dance, demon, devil, dance with, ooh, and then the Muslim and ham line, damn.
Probably took it somewhere that's past the level of making you a demon, with bitch, I'm a devil, I hope that you ready to dance with them. I know I probably took it somewhere that's past the level of making it right. I hope that when you respond, the record is hard, and maybe you'll make it a fight. I bet as soon as you hear this shit, you probably be thinking about taking a flight. I got fans in London, but after the song, they probably gonna hit me for life.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like typically people like who they like and they kind of stick with it, but yeah, I mean, I do think that what Skepta did was not like super harsh. I do think a couple of the lines from Joyner, while most of it seems, again, I think he's hitting harder than Skepta did, but I also don't think he's going for a knockout here. Like, this doesn't seem like crazy hard, but it's definitely harder than what Skepta did, and there's definitely some lines in here that I think could be taken quite offensively. So when he says, I've taken it to a point where we can't make it right, I think that could be true. It just really depends on what mindset Skepta has. I do think him mentioning some other names too, that was interesting. I don't know how that's gonna pan out.
The pistol black, your face get lit, the clip is packed, so make a wish. I go to your town to take a trip, I wipe you down and take your pick. My money is blue, I'm way too rich, I make too much, like way too quick. Your music sucks, you make me sick. Pass the plate, I'm starving. What is this shit you starting? Blah, blah, blah. Send niggas up in your apartment, use your head as a target. Blah, blah, blah. I ain't that nigga to start, but I laugh.
Send dudes up in your apartment, use your head as a target. He also said, I'll come up in your town.
Blah, blah, blah.
I don't know about that.
Up in your apartment, use your head as a target. Blah, blah, blah. I ain't that nigga to start, but I laugh at you in your garbage. Ha, ha, ha. Go to Tottenham, I'm marching. That's why I leave your carcass.
Go to Tottenham, I'm marching. That's where I leave your carcass. See, this is the equivalent of somebody, I don't know, for example, beefing with Kendrick and then saying, I'm going to walk through Compton. Probably not. You're probably not going to do that. Because you probably know what's going to happen to you. And I'm going to say that that's probably the best equivalent that we could draw here when you're saying that you're going to show up in Tottenham and walk through. If people know you're coming and that's his town, and the way that things get down in the UK, where a lot of like street violence is getting quite bad at this point, probably not a good idea, and you're probably not going to do it.
But I laugh at you in your garbage. Ha, ha, ha. Go to Tottenham, I'm marching. That's why I leave your carcass. Nobody cares, you was that nigga back in the days. You only popping in the UK, but we don't play your shit in the States. Nobody cares. Nobody cares how many women that you played, or how many bullets that you sprayed, or who bringing you out on stage. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you sat with all the goats, or how many tags on your coats, or how many niggas that you know. We don't care. Nobody cares about how you and Drizzy are close, or how you invented UK rap, but still ain't top 10 on your coast.
Ruthless, man. Look, for me, round one definitely goes to Joyner. I think the beat selection was harder. I think he rapped harder. I think he had the stronger hits in terms of the punches that were thrown. Again, Skepta, the way he opened it, I do feel like that was just a feeler. He was throwing out a jab, gauging the distance, and he, called it friendly fire. But Joyner's coming out and basically saying, nah, this ain't friendly. If we're doing it, we're doing it. That's an interesting approach. A lot of people tried to say that what Kendrick was doing was friendly, and he was just saying like, oh, it's competition or whatever. For example, when he dropped the Control verse. But obviously a lot of people took offense to being like called out, and that's just how it goes. You have egos, and it's impossible to avoid. But in this particular situation, it seems like Joyner immediately was like, no, we're escalating it past a friendly battle to see who's better, friendly banter between UK, US artists. We're better than you. Y'all suck. We're the best. And that's just how it is. I personally don't agree. I think that there's some monstrous artists in the UK. I mean, I mentioned Dave and how much of a fan of him I am, and he mentioned Dave, which I don't think will end well, because Dave is proper like genius level when it comes to this. But I think somebody who's even more dangerous than Dave, I don't like his music as much as Dave. I like a lot of his music, but I really love Dave's music. But I think someone who's more dangerous than Dave is Getz. Like, I think he's good, man. I don't know what I can say beyond that. And then from what I've heard, I haven't checked out any music myself, but from what I've heard, Chip, who's a smaller level artist comparatively to maybe some of these other names, but I guess a legend in the UK scene in his own right, apparently he's also like a monster when it comes to diss tracks. So I haven't heard any from him, but this is what I've heard from Lee to the VI, my UK reactor goat, which is who I'm going to go check out right after this, because I want to see what he thought of the situation. That's where we're at, guys. Round one for me, Joyner takes it, I think, fairly easily. I also personally prefer Joyner's song, just from a song perspective. I think that Skepta's song was good. I think that it was catchy. I just wasn't a huge fan of the beat, to be honest. Like, I think if the beat was better, maybe that would have elevated the song for me. But from Joyner's side, I think as a whole package, it makes me like the song better. So comment down below, guys. Round one, That's my opinion. I'd love to see what you guys think. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day.